Today we're checking out, is Torrance a good place to live? What's up everybody, Cheyneinman here, local real estate agent in Southern California, helping families move here from all over. And so if you're somebody looking to move to the area, be sure to reach out, call, text, or email me. I have people reaching out all the time, and I always enjoy meeting new people and helping them find a new place to live here in Southern California. So with that, be sure to subscribe and get notified every time we put out a new video on the South Bay as well. All right, so in this video, we're going to be looking at, is Torrance the right move for you? And so, throughout the South Bay, you've got so many different cities with Torrance and Redondo Beach and Hermosa Beach and Manhattan Beach and Palos Verdes and Gardena and Lawndale. And so with all those different cities, you're going to find different aspects that might fit you better. And so today we're looking at Torrance and could it be the right fit for you? One of the things I really like about Torrance is the amount of parks they have here. So, when I think of Los Angeles, I don't really think of a lot of outdoor space and rec areas. And so to have, over 35 parks in the city of Torrance is just a lot of different options for getting the kids out to play. I take my daughter to some of the parks here. We've had birthday parties at some of the parks, so you can rent out the parks as well. The high school team that I coach, they'll do workouts around some of the parks. You've got Entradero Park with big baseball fields and a big walking path around it, as well as playground. You've got Sunny Glen Park. It's kind of a smaller park, and then you've got some bigger parks like Columbia Park, where they've got playgrounds and soccer fields. And so each one of the parks has something different to offer. Up in the Hollywood Riviera section, you got Rocket Ship Park up on the hillside with playground and a great view. And then, just throughout Torrance, you've got a lot of different bigger and smaller parks for kids to play at. And like I said, with Southern California not having a lot of space for growing homes or outdoor activities, it's nice that there are so many parks here in Torrance. And one of the pros and cons of Torrance is the accessibility just to getting places and doing things. So depending on what area of Torrance you are, you've got access to the beach, you've got access to trails and PV and going hiking, you've got access to getting on the freeways. And so it's very large, and getting from one area to the next is kind of one of my problems with it is, I want to be closer to the beach and be able to run down to the beach, but I also don't want to take a lot of time to get on the freeways. So if you're in South Torrance or West Torrance, it's going to take a little bit longer to get to the freeways. I mean, it might take 15-20 minutes just going through stoplights and depending on how much traffic there is, just to get onto the freeway. And then obviously the freeways in Southern California are very busy always. And so if you're somebody that's needing to commute to downtown, then, West or South Torrance is going to be a little bit more difficult for you, but you'll have access to the beach for a bike ride or a walk or a run. And then if you want, to be on the freeway as quick as possible, then North Torrance might be a little bit closer. And so it just depends on what works with your schedule. But accessibility to be into downtown, go out to the mountains, or spend the day at the beach, I think is a big driver for people moving to Torrance. And aside from the lifestyle and activities and different things to do, moving to Torrance or living in Torrance, I think the biggest factor of whether or not living in Torrance is the right choice for you is whether the style matches your budget. So, many of the homes in this area might be built in the 1960s and have an older, smaller square footage and smaller footprint. And if you're somebody that wants a really big home, then that's not going to necessarily be the right fit for you. But if you're somebody that's, open to a smaller home or a condo or a townhome, depending on your budget, then, that could be a good option for you. So I think just the cost of living is higher in Southern California in general than, a lot of other states. And so just with the higher cost of homes in Southern California and adjusting your expectations to what exists here within your price range, I think is very important to think about when making that move to Torrance. And the final thing I think you should keep in mind about whether or not Torrance is the right move for you is just the weather. So if you're somebody that wants something really warm, Torrance does have some warm days, but for the most part, it's pretty cool and breezy, and maybe sunny and 75. But you also have days like right now in May and June where it's gloomy and overcast, and you get some pretty windy days. And so that's kind of the tougher parts of the weather. You're not getting those super brutally hot days, and you're not getting super cold days, but getting these gloomy days in May and June when you feel like summer's coming and it's actually overcast and windy, that can be a little discouraging. But as a whole, it's pretty easy going as far as the weather here compared to places where it's snowing or super hot. The other thing about it is, because most of the homes were built in the 60s and it wasn't it's not super hot here. A lot of the homes, if they're original builds and haven't been updated, they may not have air conditioning. So you're not getting those super hot days where you need it, but on the days 2 weeks out of the year, you're going to want at least a fan in your home. So that's just something to think about, is not the extreme hot and not the extreme cold, and you're getting a lot of windy days during the spring that actually feel more like winter than the winter does here. So that is Torrance as far as moving here. If you have ideas or questions, be sure to put them in the comments, and thanks so much for watching.